Tucker Carlson tells Russell Brand he doesn't know why he was fired by Fox News in his first interview, as he also makes the bombshell claim that the crowd outside the Capitol on January 6th was filled with federal agents. Well, in fact, we have that clip. Green Lives Matter. Not sure who that is, other than they have a good amount of followers, and they tweeted this. Tucker says the chief of Capitol Police told him that the crowd on January 6th was filled with federal agents. He planned on airing that interview, but was canceled before he could do so. Now we know why he was canceled and fired. Are you seeing it clearly now? They don't want the world to know the truth. Well, let me play for you that clip. It's only about 50 seconds long.
And that was a tip-off to me. I mean, I had no thought in my head as I watched this happen on television and in the subsequent weeks that U.S. law enforcement or military agencies had anything to do with it. That never crossed my mind. I never thought that it was a false flag or anything like that. I'm not a conspiracist by temperament. I never thought that. And then I interviewed the chief of the Capitol Police, Stephen Sund, in an interview that was never aired on Fox, by the way. I was fired before it could air. I'm going to interview him again. But Stephen Sund was the totally non-political, worked for Nancy Pelosi. I mean, this was not some right-wing activist. He was the chief of the Capitol Police on January 6th. And he said, oh, yeah. That crowd was filled with federal agents. What? Yes. Well, he would know, of course, because he was in charge of security at the site. So the more time has passed, now it's been...
So that's the gist of it. I mean, it's big news, but I do think it's going to be better when Tucker does actually interview the chief of police and we hear it straight from, this individual who's in charge of security. But
yeah, I would imagine he's going to actually deliver that promise as well.
Yeah.
Getting that out there, because that'll just be, pretty much confirming a lot of what people have been saying right after January 6th. I don't know if you guys remember, but obviously this was right after the Summer of Love and everything like that. And a major narrative just from people was, well, Trump supporters don't really move like that. This seems a little bit off. This seems suspicious. Right. It seems as though the more time that's passing by, the more this stuff is just getting exposed every single month.
The scary thing, I suppose, is it's trickling in drops at a time.
Yeah.
We see videos of some guy saying like, go, move, and encouraging people to engage in this stuff. Then we learn that there's more and more police officers who are in on it. The funny thing is, early on, you have that famous video with AOC where she's like, I'm, questioning the cops who may have been involved, or she said something to that effect after Alex Stein did that big booty Latina thing. She was saying like, we don't feel safe and stuff. And the point I made was, wow, AOC is claiming it was an inside job. But there's videos of cops opening the doors for people, waving people in, taking selfies with people. So right there, you could argue, yeah, the cops were letting people in. If this was really an insurrection, well, they were police officers letting them in.
Yeah.
Now there's a bigger question, and increasingly more and more news being added to the mix, which is creating a bigger picture of actually there were people in the crowd encouraging it and making it happen. The reason why I say it's scary is that it's coming out only in slow droplets to the point where people don't care because it's not a bombshell.
Yeah, just drop as many 1,000 stories over the next handful of years, and like you said, not a big bombshell. I think for the general like population as well, they don't grab onto the little tiny hints and clues here and there. They really grab onto major bombshells. So if I went out on the street and talked to people about these details that have been coming out, most people don't know about this stuff. They only know about major explosions in the media, and then, assuming that the mainstream media even covers it.
And then by the time we're at the general election next year, it will be common knowledge that it was largely a federal operation, and they'll be saying it was a good thing.
Yeah. It saved the election or helped save
the election. Helped save democracy.
Yeah.
First, they'll say, first they said it wasn't happening, you're lying. Now we have more information, it was. Then they're going to say, oh, well, you're exaggerating. And then by next year, it'll be a good thing. That's how the cycle goes. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, it happened. Yeah, and it was a really good thing that it did because they caught those evil people.
For sure.
Yeah, they prevented a siege by letting them inside and capturing them on the inside. Is probably the argument they'll make.
What would have happened if they tried to block them? I mean, it would have been real. Maybe they would have burned it down, So by opening the door, and encouraging them to do it was to find out who was really going to be a seditionist and et cetera, blah, blah, blah.
I was thinking a lot about these protesters last night, and like they were addressing grievances. They didn't believe the election was fair, and they were trying to stand their ground and take space to prevent the signing of basically of Biden of the election. They were like whatever they were signing off and making it valid. They were like, no, we're going to stay here, so you can't. They weren't like attacking people or choking people. Ashley Babbitt got shot because she went a little too far. I think she climbing up and over the barricade going into the inner chambers got shot. I understand why. I don't like it, but they were like just taking up space.